The pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, do the roll, please.
I roll call. I'll have one call, so, Representative Nagel. Representative Claudia.
Here.
Representative Freeman. President. Yes, President. Representative.
Here. Yeah.
You still here, Mike?
Here.
Representative Belichick.
Yes.
Deny.
Here.
And Steve.
I'm here and I got a text from Matt Coker. He will not be able to make it.
And do you want to make an announcement about Representative Lonnie?
Yeah, okay, so there's 10 of us here, I guess that's a quorum. Representative Lenny has resigned, I guess he moved to something with the rumor.
Representative who?
Lonnie
Lonnie.
from Meredith.
Thank you.
Okay, so 10 is, meets the quorum recommendation. Okay, the next on the agenda is a presentation from the gun stock area commissioners. Lambert, please, Commissioner Lambert.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and representatives. As usual, it's a pleasure to be here. So I just had reached out to Chairman Bean about kind of following up. You should have all received copies of the audit. Administrator Shackett was supposed to deliver to you, and with the audit, that also triggers the annual payment from Gunstock to Belknap County, which we're pleased this year to note that that amount was $365,909, which I believe is the largest amount to date. Last year was $352,000. So just a quick rundown of the commission is going to come to the Belknap County Commissioners next week and they do kind of another follow-up on this. But we had a great year. I don't know if you've got the audit with you, but just a couple of key points I'd like to highlight. Revenues were 20.8 million versus 19.4 the previous year. That's an interesting story because it was definitely a challenging season last year. Okay, so we have summer activities and it virtually rained every weekend. The complete opposite of this year, but last year, so we really had a challenging summer season. And then in come winter, it was a decent, skiing was great, but as you all probably recall, we had some fairly significant challenges with the lift, the main lift during school vacation week. I would like to point out GM President Robert Drake is here representing the team, and I would be remiss if we didn't compliment the team up at Gunstock with the hard work that they did overcoming these challenges. I mean, the loss of that lift was huge, and the mechanical issue required, you know, the team from the mechanics on site to the connections and kind of industry knowledge that Robert, his staff brought. It was really amazing that we got that back, and they also handled it from a public relations point of view. And certainly people were unhappy, but the bottom line is most of Gunstock's regular, users and customers were very understanding. They were very upfront and, very public. Some ski areas in the industry will tend to kind of hide things and try to gloss over problems. And the team just reached out and embraced it head on. For the commission's standpoint, our job is to provide all the support necessary for them, or sometimes stand aside and let the team that we have in place do their job. So that kind of synergy, I think, has worked extremely well. I'd just like to touch on a few things. So from the year 2022 through, yes, sir.
I have a question about the gearbox. If you could give some detail, a little detail, what the issue was.
So you're talking about during the season?
Yes,
So that was a planetary that went out. So that is a piece that's.
I know the planetary is, okay?
So the planetary went out. It was inspected. There's no way to predict that. It was about 2,000 hours ahead of where they were kind of expected to happen. And, it's just an unexpected failure. So we were able to get one from Doppelmayr out of Salt Lake.
And what was the downtime?
It was 5 days.
That's great.
Yeah, we expected it to be 3, but Doppelmayr wasn't completely honest with us. They had to do some testing before they sent it out.
Well,
Otherwise, it would have been faster.
regardless, 5 days for a gearbox is unheard of. Good job.
Thank you very much. It was a big team effort, including Doppelmayr, as Doug mentioned. Because they really pulled it together and made it happen.
Glad to hear that.
And so that kind of ties in, so I was gonna talk a little bit about CapEx investments. So in the last 4 to 5 years, we've spent in the neighborhood of $20 million of improvements up at the mountain. Some of these go back a few years. We upgraded the barrel bar and pub, which was the underutilized lodge. We built a state-of-the-art maintenance support facility for the groomers and all the rolling equipment. We did the septic up on the summit. Expanded the panorama pub, which I'll expand that a little bit more. The rental in snowboard and ski equipment building, which I call the pavilion, which if you haven't been up there, even in the summer, it's amazing. They connected a roof between the old rental building and the new one. It's got like TVs in there, it's got heaters, it's kind of like a neat central location for the facility on the mountain. The window upgrades in the main lodge, which has significantly improved our ability to host weddings and corporate events. I go back 20, 30 years and we've had events up there. I think the Republicans had them in the summer, and I just remember just sweating profusely, and the air conditioning in there was a game changer. Of course, the paving of the lot, when a bride and her entourage shows up, they're not in a cloud of dust. And then, lighting upgrades, if you haven't been to the mountain in a few years at night, it's really amazing. The entire mountain is lit with LED lighting. But for this year, the big thing, so the gearbox and, going through some of these things, the camping and Nordic Center, which again, if you haven't been up there, when you pull in and you just drive in, it's just really a wow factor. Aside from seeing the mountain before you even get there, that new facility which supports, we've had conversations about like summer activities, and the campground is really a big part of Gunstock's off-season activities. So that new center with the retail and some of the amenities for the campers is just really, it's just put us in a whole new orbit. For this year, we spent a lot of time, Robert and his team, and we decided that the focus really needs to be now on the infrastructure. We've got all these great wow factor, very visible, changes and upgrades that we've made, but they really took a deep dive and looked inward. And, plus, everybody concludes the same thing, the panorama chair. Without it, we have other lifts, but that's the main draw and feature of the ski area. So they developed a plan to basically turn that entire lift into a brand new lift. Okay, the towers are good, there's no, the towers will last, but all the gearbox, the electronics, the controls, everything over the course of 2 budget cycles, but 1 year, it's all gonna be brand new. There even, I think, I talked about seat covers at last meeting too. Some of the padding, several $1 million of investment into that chair lift. Plus the other lifts as well. We're doing gearbox work, cable work, like, you know, all of the really important infrastructure for skiers is going to be looked at and upgraded. That would also include electricity. Part of our CapEx for this present year is a generator up at the summit that allows some things to happen with the main chairlift in the event of like an outside power problem. It allows us to even continue operating in the event that there would be like an off-site power issue. So all those kinds of things, fueling facility, a new loader, the voltage upgrades. You know, we're doing very well and we're reinvesting heavily back into the mountain, which also provides, you know, for Belknap County. I mean, all the facility infrastructure and, you know, property upgrades is just feeds into the total value of Belknap County. You know, it's a primary, I don't have to tell you all of this, it's a primary anchor of the economy. You know, in the winter months, we employ, you know, between 600 and 700 people. It's a great place for like younger people to get their first job. You know, some places require you to be 16 or so. I think 14-year-olds can be ski instructors. So a lot of kids, some of my neighbors and kids that my kids grew up with had their first jobs at Gunstock. We also provide as much as we can work for local businesses throughout town. When you go up there and see work done, most of the time it's going to be someone from within Belknap County. Harry asked me to, you know, keep it short and tight. And I don't know, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that once again, no revenue anticipation. No, those of us that have been around for a long time can go back many years, having to come to your body for, you know, to basically borrow money until money came in. The team really has developed a great management kind of system to manage the money that comes in that allows us to basically self-fund the whole operation. 2 other things, within the past couple of years, we instituted Belknap County resident day tickets that are significantly reduced. I think is it $50 or $55 for the resident pass, resident ticket. Yeah, and I believe that includes rentals too, except for on Saturdays. And this year, the campground has instituted a discounted pass for the campers as well. Summer activities, lots of weddings, the chairlift, the adventure park, all of that. If you go up there during the summer on a beautiful weekend, they're going gangbusters up there. We've had the county resident days, which the next one is October 26th. I would encourage everyone to go up and check it out. You get a free pass for the coaster, you get a lift. And the other new thing that we did with the expansion of the pub is we're experimenting with opening that on Sundays during the summer, except for when there's weddings, which is a wedding this weekend, so that'll be closed for that. But I was up there a couple of weekends ago for that, and it's amazing and really neat to see people out on that deck enjoying a drink, enjoying a sandwich, getting to go in that little pub that's got a wow factor on its own as well. So, the commission with the team is working and always thinking and planning ahead and looking to make sure that we fill in the off season. I mean, the bread and butter is the ski. But we have infrastructure and we have employees that we want to keep and retain year round. So these off season or lower season activities go a long way towards that.
Mr. Chair,
Representative Bowden.
for the sake of the public, all these upgrades that were done was paid for, nothing was financed. Is that correct?
Correct. And in fact, we are down to one bond left. Everything else has been fully paid off. Now, in the mix, here and there may be a lease. I believe, did we lease or purchase the new pool that we did purchase? So there you go.
So we're, other than the one bond, we have 100% paid for ski resort that is just churning money for the county.
Correct. Correct.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you for your support.
Were they? Any other questions? Representative Gates.
This is actually not for you, Doug, it's for you. I have, there's a perception, and since you brought up the failure of the lift, there's a perception this past season. That there's an epidemic of lift failure nationwide. Is that a reality? And if it is a reality, is that a fluke thing, or is this like an issue, a problem in the industry?
No, it's an interesting question. As an industry, we've spent a lot of time talking about that, but unfortunately here in New Hampshire in particular had a few incidents, as you know. And so, that was, unfortunate for ski New Hampshire. But we spent a lot of time, talking about that, we'll continue talking about that, trying to make that happen. And, so that was an unusual thing happen. The interesting thing when those things happen is it prompts everyone else to go back and take a second look at how you looked at once, just to do a, sure, check. So, chair fell here in New Hampshire. Our team was out there inspecting again after we got our inspect. That was a little bit of a fluke accident.
Yeah.
So I would follow up on that. So again, back to the CapEx and the expenditures that we're engaged in. So not all of our focus has been strictly on the plant. Gearbox work, control work on the pistol, penny, the tiger, like it's really across the board. One of the things that's already, like a lot of the upgrade work for the panorama has been done, and one of the major aspects on that is the communication system cabling that runs up and down that lift. It's not just so that they can the guy booth at the top. All of that's all tied in on load cells and in different sensors on the ship wheels and that on the chairlift. So it constantly monitors strains and loads and wind and I will say that for gun stock, safety was not compromised on any of these issues, okay? The public was always safe, and that's their team's number one focus is safety, always safety first. So, but that was a good question. The gearbox, the one of the good things on that is that would have been one of the issues on the upgrade of the panoramic chair. So while it was down, there was some like testing and analysis of the big wheel, the bull wheel, that was part of the rehab. So the team actually engaged in some of that. So they made really good use of the downtime. And we had the broken gearbox, right? We still physically have that, so I think the thought might be at some point to refurbish that and have it on standby.
We could refurbish it as an extra part. While the bull wheel was down, we took advantage of that, as Doug said, that bull wheel was dropped and inspected every several years. Since it was down, it was supposed to be inspected this year, we went ahead and had it inspected that. Just got a thumbs up while it was down. But everything we've done this summer is, as Doug just said, is focused on making sure that we don't have those failures again. We're building a gearbox on another lift right now. Replaced all the drives and modernized all of those. There were some old, kind of like the motherboards that were running all of that. And we took all those out and placed them with modern technology.
It's gonna follow up. You said something really interesting to me. It sounds like you guys work together with other ski areas in the state
Absolutely.
on issues like this.
Absolutely.
And does, the fact that some of our ski areas have been bought out by corporate entities outside the state, does that affect that at all?
Does not at all. So I'm on the board of directors of New Hampshire as well. So we have really strong relationships here in New Hampshire, and I came over from Vermont. Relationships here are tenfold stronger than what I experienced in Vermont. But one of the beauties of having an organization like Ski New Hampshire is we're all colleagues. So when something goes down, we support each other. It doesn't matter if Bell Resorts owns Appalachian Wildcat, for example.
Never said that.
We still call the GMs and parts and
Thank you very much. Good job.
Representative Dumas.
All the lifts DC drive variable speeds now?
they will be after we're done with them this year. So
I'm sorry,
after the summer.
after the summer.
Yeah.
So they're all variable speed DC drives.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we'll, thank you very much for your.
One more thing, Mr. Chairman, I just want to recognize Deb Shackett. She's been kind of like my communication go-between for some things, as you know, some of the stuff that goes on between Gunstock and Belknap County. I appreciate your help. She's very responsive, always right there with answers. Not that it's a lot, but when needed, she's been there, and it was a great article, and I just would be remiss if I didn't publicly wish you well in the future.
Thank you. Next thing on the agenda is consider and appoint a Gunstock commissioner. We have one applicant. And that's Doug Lambert. We just spoke. I don't know how much discussion is necessary.
I'm gonna make a motion to appoint. I'll second.
Reappoint.
Reappoint Doug to a second term.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Yes, thank you. Next on the agenda is other business, I believe. Sharon, right?
Sure. Ultimately, I know that some of our Belknap County reps here have co-sponsored a bill for 4-year terms for all the elected officials that are in the professional jobs of sheriff, registered deed, and county attorney. We're looking at our delegation here, convention, and asking for that support to change the terms for our offices from the 2-year term to the 4-year term. I did send a letter to Chairman Bean as well as Vice Chair Boards that outlined some of the history and things associated with other counties that have done this. Right now, there's 2 counties that have already gone to this. First one was Rockingham County, and that was, I believe, 3 years ago. And then last year was Coos County. And there's other counties that are looking at doing this, but the way that it was put out by the House was they wanted each county to make that determination on their own for their counties, not as a whole state. So of course, I come before you as well as on behalf of the county attorney and the register of deed to ask for your support in that, or at least consideration for that. And if the majority of the representatives agree that that's a good idea, then of course the bill will continue through. And I could only imagine that it will go to some form of consent at that point if we get a majority. If not, then if there is not a majority, I have asked Representative Trotia to not waste the time and to withdraw the bill if that's the wishes of this convention. But I can tell you, in our jobs, we show up every day, we work. We would like to have 4-year terms so we can continue to do our jobs. And this is for the future. So I can tell you, I plan on running for sheriff again next year when the term comes open. And again, a 4-year term would definitely be beneficial. Although if I chose not to run, it should be something set up for the next person that comes in as well, that they have 4 years to establish themselves within the office, learn their job, because sheriffing is completely different than police chiefing and policing in general. So they need time to learn, they need time to do their part and get established, make the policy changes that are required and actually solidify their job. So 4 years is what I believe to be appropriate. Now, we are the only state in the US that has 2-year terms on those 3 positions. Everyone else across the United States is either a 4 or 6-year term.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sheriff, so what it sounds to me like is this legislation is simply enabling legislation that allows the counties to make the decision what they want to vote on it or not. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct, to change the term from a 2-year to a 4-year.
So it's not needed from the state, it's just allowing each county to determine whether they want to vote on it or adopt it.
No,
Right, that's why I said, is it enabling legislation?
the way, if I may, the way the current legislation is, the state says it's a 2-year term,
Right,
and then each county has to apply a bill to the state to
See,
request
okay, that's
that
fair-
they turn
that's
it
fair-
into
That's
from
fair
a
enough.
2 to a 4.
Thank you.
And it was done once before, and there was reservations at the committee level pushback due to the fact that the county itself did not send a letter in support of the bill.
I understood. Very good. Yeah, glad
Excuse
you
me,
asked.
so when you say the county, Steve, when you
Yes,
say the county, do you mean the county delegation or do you mean somebody else?
as far as the county delegation did not send a letter in support of the previous bill.
All right, thank you.
We got a question right here.
You don't mind, I spoke with municipal committee about this because of past bills and asked them why it didn't go through before. And this had nothing to do with, I haven't talked to them recently, but a year ago, we talked about this and they sunk the bill because they don't want to do this is what they told me. They didn't want to do a piecemeal, they wanted to do it all together for the whole state or not. I don't know if anybody has any.
They just did it for 2 years, that's 3 or 4 years, so that's. And we put it in, that bill was in for us way before about the two counties.
Okay, so this bill, Representative Trotter, this bill is for the county or for the state?
So basically what we have to do, Mr. Chair, is I put the first bill in. And it was my fault. I didn't come before the delegation to see if they had support. When I brought it to the committee, the reason why they decided to ITL it. Was we did not have, I did not ask the full delegation, its majority. Would support it. So I was told to bring it forward again after I came before the whole delegation to see if we have majority of the support. So that's why I brought it. I put in the LS this year. I know I spoke briefly with a few representatives, said they would, and we'd bring it up tonight to see what the majority of the delegation here felt about it.
So do you think that we should vote on this tonight, or should we wait till we have the other six or majority represented voter?
Mr. Chair, to answer that question, this is a delegation that has 10 members of it here. The others chose not to. We shouldn't stop doing county business because people choose not to show up to meetings. So I would recommend us to discuss this and bring it to fruition of whether we want to do the support of this or not tonight, because who knows when we're going to have another meeting.
Representative Ward.
I just want full disclosure, I did co-sponsor the bill with Representative Trotter. I think I was very upset this didn't go through the first time. And then Rockingham County came out like the very next year and it passed the House with flying colors. And the only reason the bill did not pass initially was because we did not come before the delegation. And I think it is important. If a sheriff's only got a 2-year term, he's gonna spend 1 year equating with the job and the next year campaigning again. So we need some stability in these positions and to give our sheriff the ability to do his job and not focus on the next election.
I just have one question, Mr. Chair. I do think it's important to discuss, and while I don't fault people for not coming to the county meeting, we all have lives. Would it be wise to wait until the draft comes out of the LSR and discuss it to see what exactly the language says, and that way, if there's any changes to make, we can do it as a delegation with the prime sponsor here. Or the prime, I'm sorry, excuse me, Representative Portis, either one, with the prime sponsor here to see if it's the language that we think would be agreeable.
It seems to me that would be more logical, in my opinion.
My only concern in regards to that is when will our next meeting be, and will it be too late at that point in time?
True, could be.
Well,
That's something we have to consider.
Just make a motion proposal with the draft language. Now we don't have the bill, but you got the idea, right, behind it, and then people can either vote it up or down.
Representative St. Clair.
Thank you. I just want some clarification, if I may. Was this bill put in this past year or the year before?
It was the term before. It
Term-
was not last year.
Okay, because I was confused on
No, it was the term before.
Thank you. And if I may just do a follow-up. I don't see an issue with this, but this is the first I knew this was gonna happen tonight. Maybe I missed that information coming, but if the bill's gonna be heard, whatever committee it goes to, would it not be okay to get the letter in at that point, or does it have to be in with the actual bill going forward?
It's gotta be in before the committee here.
Meets, right, but if
But if we don't have a meeting prior to that, they're left dangling again, in my point of view.
couldn't we call a meeting if need be?
Well, then we're gonna spend,
I don't think it was
We have another meeting this year.
You will have a meeting the first week of December when you get the new budget.
So that they're not gonna hear anything until January, so that work.
I mean, that's fine with me as a responsible.
Correct language.
They should be.
The LSI should be completed by then.
Yes, so we're gonna have the meeting in December. Representative Potter.
If I recall correctly, the committee chair chooses when to discuss this LSR. If one of their principal sponsors would inform them you needed a meeting, could you not bring it up until after that? Is just,
Well, our meeting
I
is
don't
gonna be in December and they can't do this until January, so I think we're covered. Am I correct?
Gonna meet till the end.
didn't,
I'm babbling. They're not, the committee won't meet till mid-end of January, so,
So you agree?
yeah.
Thank you. So it looks like, do we want to put it to a vote to wait, or do we just want to wait until the December meeting to vote?
I don't think we need to vote. That would be your call, Mr. Chair.
Okay, well, I think I'll ask Representative Vogel with you.
If I would say that as soon as the language for the bill is released, that it go out with the package if at all possible. That every member for that meeting will have a copy of it to review.
We can make sure that's on the agenda for the December meeting. Could you-
I can make sure it's on the agenda, and if someone gets me the language when it's available, we can make sure it goes out to the packet.
Representative
And that would be one of the sponsors.
He's not the prime sponsor.
He's a co-sponsor.
Killing me with this. Make up my.
He's a co-sponsor. So Representative.
He was the
Klein,
prime
as soon as you
sponsor.
get-
Fine.
As soon as you get the language, you get it to Ms. Shackett, please.
I will.
She will. Have a meeting.
I
Okay, Sheriff.
will also make sure that the county administrator has a copy of the letter that I gave to the chair and vice chair. Yes, we can explain some of it, so on and so forth.
Representative Sinclair.
Thank you. This is for Sarah. You said something that I just don't believe. And that is that it took you a year to learn this job. I don't think so. I'm sure you were. I can't imagine anybody getting elected to be sheriff and taking a year to figure it all out. I'm just assuming you are not, it's a bad word.
Well, I do run a high efficiency, so.
Yeah. I guess just the thought of that, just, you know.
But any person taking a job, and I've worked for 3 sheriffs now.
Yeah.
In one of them came, or 2 of them came from the outside, and I watched those 2 have to learn this process
Well,
of what
of
we do and how we do it in meetings and everything else. So there is a learning curve to it. You know, you start on the first Wednesday of the month of January and you're off running. And most of the time they're mid-cycle in budget because we can't seem to get a budget before January. So, you know, there's all these processes that come in play. I mean, they're always behind the 8 ball. So, again, I look at it as moving forward in the future. It's a good thing. We don't know when we're going to replace, or have to replace the sheriff, the registered deed, or the county attorney. Anything can happen at any time. So I think this is a good plan moving forward. And as counties continue to view this as a professional position, I believe that that's, you know, again, that they're trying to move into that.
Could this save the county money somehow, maybe?
Well,
Before your term?
I mean, I don't know if it'll necessarily save money, but,
Awesome.
Save the sheriff time campaigning and that.
Sure.
but listen, I campaign all the time because that's what I have to do. So, for me, there isn't a day off. So, but again, it doesn't change the fact that, again, we have to establish our office, start changing some of the processes inside if that's what we choose to do. And then show the public that we're worthy of, continuing with the position. So again, that 4th year would be where we start campaigning again. So again, it's all about business and we're business people and we need to run our business instead of always worrying about, how about I don't make change because I don't want disruption. And listen, I already testified in front of the committee, about some of the personnel matters that I had and how I came in and started making some changes. It became disruptive, within the organization, but I was the one sheriff that decided to make those changes because they needed to be made in order to make our office a lot more efficient and a lot more effective. Hence the data that I have to support that process now. But it took time and it almost cost me my job. So again, I had to go out before the public and I worked hard at saying what I was going to do and I stayed completely open and honest about what I was doing and why I was doing it. So luckily, the public agreed with me and I continued to a 2nd term to where it showed the success for my 3rd term. So again, I got ripped off my 1st term because I decided to make change and it caused disruption. And Ms. Shackett, again, helped me through some of those cycles, whether it be guidance or venting post or what have you. But again, there's processes that need to be learned. So I believe that for the future, we need to set the stage for the future now. And I think that you folks here that are sitting here now are the ones that have to make that decision. And I'm coming before you saying, I'm in this position, I'm telling you, we need 4-year terms. And I talked to the other two, that are in the same type of elected positions, and they too echo the same thing. That it really needs to establish a 4-year position. And again, I'll remind you, we're the only ones in the country that are 2-year positions.
In this state, yeah. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Any other questions for the sheriff?
I appreciate your consideration. My phone's always on if you have any questions.
Thank you. Is there any other business? Representative Freeman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, at this time, I'd like to ask the body to adopt House Bill 110, which was passed by the House and the Senate, signed by the governor, and it is a bill that has established a revolving detail fund, which is something that the sheriff had asked us to do because of the issues he had with his funding of details and how it was set up in our accounting ledger. So I would like to ask the body to adopt that at this time.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
Could somebody explain it?
Yeah, can you
yeah.
explain it?
Yeah,
I think Representative Trotter is the expert.
I wouldn't say the expert, I'm the
Well-
prime sponsor. So basically, House Bill 110 allows, currently, right now, local police, state police can adopt a revolving fund for details. House Bill 110, which was passed again by the House, the Senate, and signed into law back, taking effect, I believe it was in August by Governor Ayotte, allows counties to do the same thing, to adopt these revolving funds. This way, it's actually gonna help during budget season to cut that line item down. For an example, the sheriff come in front of the commissioners and the delegation, instead of asking, and I'm not sure what he asked for, say $80,000. That's what he has for the year, or he has to come back and ask for an appropriation. With the revolving fund, we can say, we're gonna give you 10,000, 15, 20,000 as a baseline. With the revolving fund, that money will always stay there with these outside companies are paying the county. So we'll always have that amount in there. And the remainder goes into the general fund
General fund for the county or for the sheriff's department?
for the county. So I believe the sheriff might be able to explain a little bit.
If I may,
Representative Boger.
so that number stays at plus or minus 10,000, but should be about 10,000. And then if it goes to, let's say, 13,000, then 3,000 would go back to the general fund.
That's my understanding, yes.
And if it drops down to 8,000, then any earned money goes into the fund to build it back up to 10,000.
Correct. And the rest goes to the general fund.
What is the downside? Is there a downside?
It's gonna cut the budget. Not even a downside, I'm just joking.
That would be an upside.
There's really no
There's
negative
no
that I can
downside?
see for a downside. It's positive.
Do we have to formally adopt it?
Yes, that's what the WAS is, the governing body for the. That's what the-
Okay. Did the sheriff have more input on this?
Yes, I believe that the legislation actually requires that it be designated for specific things. So revolving fund, because it talks about being able to spend on additional things. I am only seeking, which I didn't realize that this was going to come up, but I'm only seeking that revolving fund to be secured only for salaries that are associated with the working of details. So no equipment, no, I'm not gonna look to buy another cruiser or something with the extras funds and things that are set up like municipalities have it set up. I'm only looking to fund for us to be able to have continued details and to be able to work these details as they come about.
So you wanna amend the motion?
So
I don't think,
May I ask one question real quick? So it's actually two lines. One's gonna be an expense line, and then you'll have a income line.
So I would defer to Ms. Shackett for that, because she understands the fund thing.
Or revenue, I should say.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman,
Mr. Chair,
Chairman,
I do believe Ms. Shackett has something to add.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was
That's okay.
trying to get something else straightened out.
I just think this has been a discussion and there's a lot of subjectivity to how it's written. And it would be helpful. Wasn't expecting this either tonight. And maybe this is something I think that should be developed and carefully written and worded. How the fund is established and exactly how it's gonna move. One of the things that comes up is if it exceeds the 10,000, then the extra money goes back to the general fund. On a weekly basis, on a daily basis, every time a bill is paid. You know, we had a lot of accounting questions about how it will be worded, yes. And I think if we could have time to talk through it and get the wording exactly right, so that then the sheriff can propose the kind of fund we would like you to adopt.
Well,
Maybe we could do that.
I'm in agreement with you because I really would like some time to look this over. This seems like this is more important than just a snap decision without any.
So the
Yeah.
goal,
You gotta put the package together so that we can see it.
The guidelines and stuff, that's.
Okay, wait,
I would like,
unless I'm listening.
so what I would like to see is that there's, the conversation is that it's highly considered by this convention that we will be going towards the House Bill 110. So during our budgetary process, because it goes to commissioners first, I would prefer to go to the commissioners and say, I no longer need $100,000 in that expense account. I only need 10,000 to get us going, with the intentions that it's gonna be a revolving line. So for budgetary processes, that gets us going. And then by the time it comes to establishing our budget, going through our budget with either the executive committee or the complete delegation, by that time, we should have all the wording and all the stuff all together to be able to present and say, this is how this process is gonna work. That's kind of what we would like to, rather than just saying, no, we're not interested. I'd like to know, no, we're not interested in going with this. You budget like you've been currently budgeting, so I can do that revenue and expense lines, or that we're gonna go forward with this and I can reduce that expense line and so on and so forth. So, makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
that there's not any opposition to.
Correct. We just want to plan for the budget.
I'm not personally opposed to it.
Right.
But I do wanna dig into a little bit more to make sure I know exactly what's going on.
So, Mr. Chair, I'd be more than happy to remove my motion
We-
for further discussion.
Try and say.
Mr. Chair,
Withdrawing my
Okay,
motion
so-
for further discussion.
you could do like a straw vote on not necessarily a motion to put it in place, but a straw vote based on the people here that we're in a positive consideration mode and not a negative consideration mode. And that way,
I absolutely agree with that. I don't think anybody
Any
here said
motion?
anything negative about it. We just, Ms. Shackett, quite aptly pointed out that there may be some issues with it. There was some fuzzy language, and she would know better than any of us what the clarification needs to be. We want this to be clean, so it benefits everyone. So I don't think there's anything negative about it. I think we do need some time to digest it.
I agree with you 100%.
Great.
And all I'm saying is so that they can have it in writing that the delegation is looking at it positive, so they're not spinning their wheels.
Well, maybe we ought to have a motion to have a straw vote. I'm leaning in favor of this.
Why don't we just do a show of hands and we don't need an official.
Right, so anybody that's leaning favorably toward this, would you please raise your hand? Think about it. So everybody's,
Glenn?
are you leaning favorably towards this?
I don't even know what it is. I can't leave.
Okay, we can also language to get everybody some information on it.
I'm leaning favorably because of people who present opposing. That's not people. So is there any other business?
I just have a question.
Is there anything?
When's your last day?
January 31st.
So, all right, I don't have to tear cry yet.
No.
Good.
Build it up for you.
And Representative Clozier, you have other business?
No, I was hoping the chair could check with the sheriff. If this could be ready for meeting December.
Well, I was under the impression that's what was gonna happen.
Uh,
Sure, I just wanted, yes.
okay.
So that's what. We're good?
Adjourn.
No. No. Was there any other business needs to be discussed? Is there any public input? Anybody in the public that would like to say something about what's going on here?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Doug Lambert, Guilford. Just want to express my appreciation and thanks for the vote and your continued support. And I pledge to you that I will continue to serve in the role as gun stock commission in a favorable way that works out for the interests of everyone of Belknap County. So I appreciate the vote. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you and your team for your hard work and money that's given to the county. The entire team. Not until the end of January.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I guess motion to adjourn.
Well, no more than just adjourn.
So,